Yeah.
Did I have you in there last time when you were supposed to?
Yeah. Yeah.
I usually catch them all.
Call the meeting to order for March 11th. If you would read the invitation for us,
Sure. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening and we thank you for this time. May you guide and direct us and do your work. And just please give us wisdom and discernment. We ask this all in your name. Amen.
and join us for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You would do the roll call for us, Tracy?
Michael,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Lola.
Here.
Christie.
Here.
Jeffrey.
Here.
Tracy here.
Next, we have the approval of the agenda. The agenda is primarily reports and ceremonies today, a couple of decision items. I do have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Noah, do we have support? Support by Lee. Any discussion among the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have the approval of the past meeting minutes, which we have for February 5th and February 12th.
I make a motion to accept them with the one admission that I wasn't at that meeting. There's just one thing that needs to be cleared up.
Just under the Parks and Rec.
Yep, I'm the person that.
All right, motion for approval for both with
Yep.
that adjustment.
Yep.
And we have the support.
Support.
Support by Christie. Any discussion among the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have the treasurer's report.
The only thing I'd like to say is on note at the top, I did change it from January to February. So this is February's report, but make that correction. Please.
We'll place that on file. Next, we have paying the bills. Motion to pay the bills.
Make motion to pay bills.
Motion by Noah, do you have support? Support by Michael. Any discussion among the board? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Noah.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Christie.
Yes.
Tracy, yes. Jeffrey.
Motion passes. Next, we have several things from the fire department. If you would start us off, Chief.
Thank you. 66 calls for service last month. Again, still working through the process of getting the new software to implement everything, but it's going well. We have obviously finished the hiring process. Finished that tonight officially. Phase 2 of the firehouse update has started this morning. They're going to look at the interior, and then beginning of April, they'll start to finish the exterior. Hopefully all be done by the middle of April, beginning of May. That's our plan. Again, obviously, we've submitted the budget completely the way we wanted it to look. No additional changes. Hence that. The only thing we did have was that we had a small emergency situation with the Durango, which we had to go out and make an emergency decision with the 3 executive members and purchased a new vehicle at a much reduced cost, but we had to do it. We'd like to talk about it at a different time. We'd be more happy to do that. Next.
Perfect. Yeah, move on to the new fire department.
Okay. Coolest part of my job, aside from doing cool things, is this. I was blessed to do this tonight. Firefighter Q Bauman has completed all the process to become a now referred to as a part-time firefighter with the the Dalton Township Fire Department. So Drew, would please come up here. I really appreciate it. You nervous?
Yeah, you should be.
Actually, it should be Roxy, right? All right, so his daughter Skylar and Roxy are gonna pin on his badge for him tonight to get him to first base, okay? Remember? We're driving, it's $5. Squat down, Dad, they're not that tall yet.
Oh, that's beautiful.
There you go. Two hands, up there. Yeah, good job, girl. At this point, I'd like to request that probationary firefighter Drew Bauman be class that is changed to that of firefighter, if it's possible, please.
Do we have a motion?
I motion to move to approve the change in class for Commissioner firefighter Drew Bauman, that of firefighter.
Motion by Nola, do we have support? I'll support. Support by Michael. I'll call on to any other discussion among the board. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Drew, if you would please turn. Go to the Mars, I'm trying to read your oath.
Gotta go, first will be a little bit long. Raise your right hand. I, Drew Bauman, do solemnly swear to do my duty as a paid on-call firefighter for the Township of Dalton to the best of my ability.
I, Drew Bauman, do solemnly swear to do my duty as a paid-on-call firefighter for the Township of Dalton to the best of my ability.
To serve the officers and fellow firefighters with respect and dignity.
Serve the officers and fellow firefighters with respect and dignity.
To serve the citizens of Dalton Township with compassion, courage, and integrity while following our vision of duty, pride, and tradition.
To serve the citizens of Dalton Township with compassion, courage, and integrity while following our vision, duty, pride, and tradition.
And to uphold the laws and constitutions of Dalton Township, the state of Michigan, and the United States, so help me God.
And to uphold the laws and constitutions of Dalton Township, the state of Michigan, and the United States, so help me God.
That's the first phase, as everybody knows, as traditionalists, that it's, we make them wear that hideous orange shield that they all hate. So, it's with great pleasure that you get your true knowledge. Mine. Okay. They really hate the blue tetrahedrons, so it's always fun to have these sitting in my office and staring at them. They know they can't have them yet, but now we get to run back over there as soon as we're done here. Pull them stupid blue things up. Just like, yeah, one more. Because everybody knows we're very big into our challenge coins. It has to use 3 hour part of the time. Okay. Part-time history. I might get emotional.
Yeah, no, Phoenix over here.
It's you and So, as you know, the beta call staff is for 12 years now. Yeah, weird, huh? 14, wow, damn.
That's it.
And that's the thing. 14 years ago, I promised that we were going to be the best. And you help me out, brother.
I'm right here. Call for mutual aid, right here.
So I had said that our 15-year plan was that due to our size and what our citizens deserve, we would need to hire full-time staff. It would be impossible for, I think I'm upset because I'm not getting the wrong calls anymore. I had said that we need to one of our visions was to have full-time staff, and we're about to embark on that. Without these guys being dedicated, we would have never gotten to this point. And I sure the hell wouldn't have survived it, but I've got 15 great people that I rely on. And it was a hard decision, but man, it's a dream come true, you know. This will never happen again. Boys, you don't understand. Damn it. Oh, what could take this from you today? When I started this process, I called my confidant and somewhat best friend, Chief McCarthy from White Lake, because I wanted to be unbiased. I did not want to be a part of this. I didn't want there to be anything, not that our citizens would say that, but I didn't want there to be any swing. And I let Chief McCarthy basically pick how we were going to do this. And him and I conversed at great length to come up with the best plan, to get the best candidates, to get the best people to serve our people. So Chief had asked me if he could come up tonight, speak much better than I do. It's emotional all the time. At least not about this.
Right.
But I had the pleasure of being on Chief McCarthy's hiring committee when he first started as a full-time firefighter. So to have him standing next to me is kind of cool, except he overpowers me because he's a little bigger. But that's kind of Ren and Stimpy show.
A little?
He's husky. Chief wanted to say a few words, and I was going to give him nothing but respect for what he did to make this process, in my mind, and Scott, thank you for sitting on the committee as well. The effort he put into this. There are communities that would be so lucky to have the process we had. So I'm gonna give Chief McCarthy a couple minutes before we get into the last hurrah here of the boys. So Chief, if you
Not unlike your own chief, I've been described as chatty. So I kind of wrote down a few words, just kind of, so keep your meeting moving along. My name is Pete McCarthy. I've got the honor and privilege to serve as the fire chief for the White Lake Fire Authority. I'd like to thank the Dalton Township Board and Fire Chief Alan Stiles for the opportunity to be part of the hiring process for the new full-time positions. As a first step, all of the candidates were given a written exam containing questions that a certified firefighter and licensed emergency medical responder should know. They all did very well. Then they moved on to the practical and cognitive oral exam, which faced numerous scenarios encompassing not only emergency response, but the daily duties and responsibilities of a full-time firefighter. They again excelled. Finally, I was joined by Muskegon Township Fire Chief Matt Ambrose and your own trustee, Scott Christmas, for an oral board interview. While they all did well, each of them had varied responses to the same questions and all found a way to shine in their own light. Ultimately, the three firefighters that were selected for these positions are incredible candidates. All three of them demonstrated a deep commitment and dedication to their community, their fire department, their job, and to their families. These individuals will wear the Dalton patch proudly and will represent you well in any situation they're faced with. Speaking of honor and privilege, I have also had the privilege of participating in these firefighters' education over the years in the honor of serving alongside them in countless emergency scenes. While Dalton should be proud to have them as their responders, myself and the members of the White Lake Fire Authority and our 3 communities are proud to have them responding as mutual aid. When Fire Chief Alan Stiles came here 14 years ago, we became fast friends and colleagues. That bond has only strengthened over our tenure together. I'm where I am today as part of his mentorship, and I know these firefighters will continue to grow and thrive under his leadership. I'm excited to hopefully continue to be a part of it. Chief Stiles is constantly talking about duty, pride, and tradition, and these 3 candidates exemplify that tenfold. My motto in my firehouse is dedicated service through teamwork. And while that on the onset, that includes the White Lake Fire family, that also speaks to the various other fire departments, emergency rescue personnel, police officers, dispatchers, and the like. Dalton Fire is a big part of that. I'm truly proud of all the candidates, as this community should be, and I look forward to getting a chance to see them in staging. Congratulations to firefighter Anthony Cooley, firefighter Michael Colburn, and firefighter Drew Bauer. Congratulations to Dalton Township and the rest of the Roadhouse crew on the addition of these 3 gentlemen to serve your community in a full-time capacity. I would like to close with one of the things my mentors have taught me about duty, pride, and tradition is White Lake Fire. We also have our own coin. You'll notice our coin is a little bit bigger than most because, let's be honest, White Lake Fire's chief is a little bit bigger than most. So this coin, if you guys would stand. Proud of you, man. Nice job. Nice job. Nice job. Thank you again for allowing me to be a part of it. All of the firefighters behind me, I've gotten a chance to work with all of them. Chief Lieutenant, some more than others. We've been doing this a long time together. Dalton Township and White Lake Fire, there was a time when we didn't really see eye to eye. And that changed 14 years ago, and it's only gotten better every single day. So again, thank you for allowing me to be part of the opportunity. If you'll excuse me, I actually have my own training to get to tonight, so I'm going to politely make my exit. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, you actually crack jokes. Right. Okay, like I said, Darren Park in my history, like Chief McIvy said, the staff behind me, once you've been here through it all, don't go unnoticed, and they're just as important as the 3 gentlemen. But the big thing is, again, without those guys giving literally blood, sweat, and tears for over 20 years, is amazing to me. So they are no less shining, like Chief McCarthy said, than these 3. But we had brought this up, and thankfully to our citizens, and I thank every citizen that did, agreed that we needed to move forward. We need to do the best we can for our citizens, and this was the only way. So at this point, I would ask that we change the class of paid-on-call firefighters Anthony Cooley, Michael Colburn, and Drew Barman to that of full-time firefighter.
We're looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Tracy, do we have support?
Support.
Support by Lee. Any discussion among the board?
I'll just say that I was asked to help with the interview process. That can be laborious at times. This was not the case. These 3 gentlemen, if we were playing baseball, I would say you had all hit grand slams in your interview. This township needs to understand how blessed we truly are to have these 3 men step on board as full-time firefighters. It was a true joy. Thank you for the opportunity.
Anything else from the board? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Point the clerk's right to again read you your oath. Yeah, this is truly a historic day. Like I said, I believed it to happen, and it was one of my missions for as long as I was here. The staff, we sat down and we talked long and hard about how we wanted to do this, and so this part of history is mind-blowing. So, clerk,
Raise your right hands. I, and state your name, do solemnly swear to do my duty as a full-time firefighter for the Township of Dalton to the best of my ability.
I, Anthony Gilmore, do solemnly swear to do my duty as a full-time firefighter for the Township of Dalton Township,
To serve the officers and fellow firefighters with respect and dignity.
to serve the officers and fellow firefighters with respect and dignity,
To serve the citizens of Dalton Township with compassion, courage, and integrity while following our vision of duty, pride, and tradition.
to serve the citizens of Dalton Township with compassion, courage, and integrity while following our vision of duty, pride, and tradition.
And to uphold the laws and constitutions of Dalton Township, the state of Michigan, and the United States, so help me God.
And to uphold the laws and constitutions of Dalton Township, the state of Michigan, and the United States, so help me God.
Congratulations.
With that being said, we're gonna go back next door and do a little, but, again, thank you for, to happen tonight, and again, please take a moment and thank the Taylor and Paul staff that have dedicated, again, hours and hours of time. It's the welcome. Okay. If anything else, we respectfully ask to be, released in the meetings.
Brandon, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Meetings in the lead now.
Something we said.
I'm gonna have to call you back, I just,
Fill that up, we have Lee with the planning commission report.
Met February 20th. There's only one item on the agenda it was just for discussion on home-based businesses and home occupation. We talked on cleaning up verbiage to differentiate the two, because look at the ordinance. Currently, it's pretty much the same thing. Also looked at ways to ease regulation to allow people to utilize their property with less red tape and fear of doing things wrong.
Yeah. We have the planning and zoning report, if you would, Steve.
In February, we issued 4 zoning permits, 2 of which were for new houses. The enforcement actions, we investigated 3 cases and received another 5 complaints, which will be reviewed tomorrow. There was a pause in enforcement due to Clay being out of town.
Perfect, thank you. Next, we have the maintenance and grounds report. So Nate turned in his resignation, and so we're turning this position over. Obviously, we're getting things going in the spring. We have a couple of seasonal people coming back. So we're working on starting to get sticks cleaned up at the cemetery and those types of things, put some of the sod back from the plowing. So both of these are largely just Dave resigned. Next, we have the library report. If you would like to, Rachel.
So we did a pretty good year, over the past 4 years. The Dalton branch is part of the Muskegon Area District Library, commonly known as MADL, to those of us who use our library, so that's how I refer, when we say MADL, That's what I'm talking about, the Muskegon Area District Library. It was formerly the Muskegon County Library when we went from village several years ago in Wasco County. Then we created a new name, a new logo, and went forward with that. Back in 2020, when a lot of people couldn't get out, when the library was closed for a while, our numbers significantly went down to circulation was approximately 24,000 items that year. As of last year, we did over 33,800 items. So we've definitely rebounded from that time. Each year we've increased a little more. This year, we've already noticed an increase in new patrons. We don't know where they're coming from, but all of a sudden we're getting new patrons and we're very happy about that, and that increases our circulation. So we're looking forward to a stellar year this year. Let's see. We are only one of 2 libraries in Michigan that are attached to a school. There's one in Grand Rapids that's attached to a high school, and there are only 5 in the country. So we're in a very unique position. And we do a juggling act every day with kids coming in one door in classes and public coming in the other door. And I think we do a pretty fine job. We get just had a compliment today. Somebody told us it was their favorite library. So I always like to hear that. And worked very hard at having staff that shows that we appreciate being there. We want them to get all the services we could possibly provide. One thing that happened recently with the help of the Twin Lake Historical Society and Miss Fowler there was Matt has a podcast. And it has a fun little name. It's called Believe in Your Shelf. And they came out and interviewed me, and so I used some of the information from the Historical Society. It meets every third Wednesday at the library, and other files that I had, and gave a little background of our library. And so if you get a chance, you can access that on Spotify. You can just download the app. You can go to our webpage, mabl.org, and listen in on that. I'm not sure when it'll be posted, but they have been doing that with several branches. Plus, they do other special events on there. So if you like to listen to podcasts, please take advantage of that. Our Neighborhood Wednesdays is one of the things we've talked about recently, and it is now on our calendar, Neighborhood Wednesdays, starting May 1st. It's an actuality. Matt has approved that. So Wednesday nights, starting May 1st at 6 p.m. Come on down with your chairs. Library's going to provide some juice, lemonade, water, that kind of thing. And bring your dinner down with you if you want. And sit with your neighbors, your friends, invite people over. Maybe some board members will show up and answer some questions and talk about things. That's what we're hoping for, make it a real community event. Things that, they can't make it here to this meeting. This is an opportunity for everybody in Dalton Township to get together and talk. I even had a little boy come in on Saturday to our Lego program. And he was excited about it because he thought he could come and maybe make some friends. So we are very hopeful for that. There may be some people bringing snacks to share at certain events. So we'll see how that goes. So we've got our printout. So you see our numbers, patron visits last year, 20,123 on our counter. New borrowers, 97 last year. Like I said, I think these last 2 months, we're getting pretty close to probably 40 people already. So we're doing really well. We've got 118 programs and a very good turnout to the majority of those. We do still have 4 public computers. They just came in today and updated our computer for kids that has games for kids. It's called an AWE machine, AWE. And so the kids are going to be thrilled about that. I know they fight over it already. Yeah. And we have some very kind volunteers that live in the neighborhood that come and help us out with all kinds of programs. So we look forward to that happening. Maybe if you haven't been in the library in a long time, but if you had in the past, You may remember these names: Sue Munson, who was here for 32 years, and before that, Betty Johnson, and before that, Marie Rademacher. So I am only the fourth librarian you guys have. You guys must do something right to keep people around for so long. Treat the people well. The majority of the people that do come into our library are here in Dalton Township, almost 50%. The next one from that is Cedar Creek, and then Blue Lake, Dalton Township, Muskegon County, and then we lump everybody together who comes. We have patrons who live in Grand Rapids and they summer here, or they live in Grand Haven and then they summer here, and they can still use our library. Your card covers the Lakeland Library Co-op, and that goes from Fremont down to Fenville. So if you already have a card, you can come in and use it with us and check out return items. And we also do interloans. So every day, this morning, we had 50 items that people requested from our little library, and we had to put them in delivery, send them out all over West Michigan to fill people's needs. So that's really heartening to see that they want what we have. The first library that you had here in Dalton Township was a bookmobile that came out. That was in the 30s. And on March 4th of 1959 was the first building that opened its doors to the public. That was on the corner of 5th and East Street. And then we moved into our current location in 1992 in the old Twin Lake Elementary former gym and lunchroom. So that means this year is our 65th anniversary. So kudos to everybody who's helped make that happen. I do have a permanent assistant now. His name is Jake Hollenbeck. He lives in Montague, but he is there 3 to 4 days a week. So if you come in and you don't see me, Jake will help you with any of your needs. That's what he's there for. A couple other things that are happening is that we have a podcast. Oh, in case you didn't know, most popular book that our kids read is a Guinness Book of World Records. So I'm always interested. I've been trying to think of a way this summer that maybe we can do something where we can maybe break a record or do something, because those kids love that so much. So that's something to look forward to. Our summer reading program is going to be about adventures, so that would definitely be an adventure. And last but not least, next Monday night at the library, 4 o'clock. Put this on your calendars. The Mattel Board is going to meet in our branch. And so if you have anything that you would like to ask the library board, anything that you would like to see happen for us in Dalton Township, or just any questions, or just to come here. And if you haven't met Kevin Richards, who was formerly a teacher at Twin Lake Elementary, he is now an MAISD, so come in and meet him, because he's representing all of us on that board and hopefully guiding them to help us all out with all the things we need. So does anybody have any questions for me? Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing you there in May, but not tonight, I've got. And I do have some newsletters for the spring. So we'll just here. And I hope to see you all then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Next, we have Agewell Services and Safe Seniors. Chris, if you want to come up and give us a presentation on that.
Thank you so much. It's the day of updates and report outs, right? It should make life a little easy. My name is Chris Howard. I'm Executive Director for Agewell Services in Muskegon County. We serve Oceana, Muskegon, and Ottawa counties, as you probably recall. I have the first sheet that I have handed out to Mr. Martin is all of our units and the number of individuals that we've served through the 6 programs that we have at Agewell Services. I always bring this to you once a year, so you can also see the additional federal and state dollars that are being spent by our organization within the community. You'll notice that Meals on Wheels numbers and senior transportation, which is our low-income medical transportation for non-emergency appointments. That both of those have staggering wait lists for help. The federal funding that was really kind of coming down hot and heavy over the pandemic has obviously dried up. So we're kind of back down to a waitlist scenario. Right now, Meals on Wheels has a waitlist of over 750 individuals. So when we consider, like we've been talking about this for several years, about this notion of baby boomers and the impact that they are going to begin to make. And remember, 8 years ago, we passed a Muskegon County Senior Millage in order to help keep up with the demand that is going to start to occur with these individuals. Meals on Wheels is commonly one of the very first interventions that occur when we want to try to keep someone living independently at home for as long as we possibly can. So what we're really seeing is this is kind of the tip of that iceberg that we're starting to see. Here it comes, and so to speak. So we're seeing a massive amount of individuals that are needing access for food, especially our elders. You can see also that the rates of the safe senior cases have definitely increased as well. I don't know about anyone else, but I feel like on a daily basis, I am being poached. I'm receiving emails, phone calls from my grandson who's in, with a ship captain, and he's going to be here anytime now, but he's in jail, and I need to wire him $10,000 to get him out. Some of you have probably experienced this as well. I want to tell you that because of Safe Seniors, we've been able to thwart several and intercept several cash dollars going out the door, which is pretty incredible. So our Safe Seniors program has 2 full-time detectives, and that is where Dalton's contribution has gone towards, are for those detectives to investigate these very important types of crimes that are also really complicated to investigate. Majority of individuals who are scammed or exploited, they're offenders coming straight into their front door. They are people that know them, they are people that love them, that build trust with them in one way or another. But there's another 15 to 17% out there that are extremely aggressive, that have these giant just mills of business where they're capturing all and mining all of this data and information. So let me give you an example of something that happened just last week. We had an elderly lady go into the UPS store, and she needed to wire a package. They needed it to be overnight. Brian starts asking her questions, and she says, "Well, I'm just sending magazines." Well, what's in the magazines? They had instructed her to put cash in between all of these magazines, and then they were then sending those magazines to the person that was the perpetrator on this crime. Luckily, Brian was smart enough to ask those questions and say, something doesn't add up here, let's call a detective. So sure enough, Detective Pashier jumped right on top of it. They were able to stop it from going, but then she also told them, well, I've already sent another $5,000 in another package. So we were able actually to stop that truck that was en route with that $5,000. It gives me goosebumps. And we were able to stop the truck, and we were able to thwart it and get it back. Amazing. That doesn't always happen. But a year ago, we had some victims out of Blue Lake Township, one out of Blue Lake, one out of Dalton, and one out of Cedar Creek that were poached. But instead of sending money, they're sending couriers now. They're sending people to come to the front door and pick it up. And so what had happened is this gentleman on his way to the bank starts thinking, okay, like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. Something doesn't add up. So he winds up calling 911, who dispatches them to our detectives. And we're like, no, it's definitely not right. Let's sit down. Let's talk a minute. Well, wait, they're coming to your house to pick it up. When are they coming? And do you want to be part of a sting?
Yeah.
So let me tell you, for these detectives who are dealing with civil crimes a lot of the time, right? They never get to kind of do a sting. So they were pretty excited that day when 2 men showed up on the doorstep, knocked on the door. The woman of the house answered the door, let them in. Oh, come on in. And boom, down on the floor he went. Didn't know what he had coming to. right? So that was pretty exciting, but also he was waiting, and there was another individual in a getaway car waiting to take that money, go on, and then they were gonna make their way right up here and stop to the other two locations before they wound up. We arrested them. You never get that opportunity to actually make an arrest because so many times those types of scams are from far away. They're from a long way, but there's rings. So now, because of that and a connection that we also made down in Ohio to a police department, see what they do is they'll send you money. Now you send it to this person, and now that person is the person who's actually the offender because they're the ones who are money laundering. So it becomes so complex, but they were able to actually map this out with FBI and trace this ring back all the way to Seattle, Washington, and they're able to move forward with pressing charges. So it's just this crazy web that gets weaved, right? So when I say that you had 17 individuals in Dalton Township that we reviewed cases on to determine if they're healthy, if they're safe, to stop any harm that's been occurred, to help get them services that they need in order to ensure that, one, they can make sound decisions for themselves, but also that they have caregivers that are out there watching for them and they know what's going on. So it's this complex layer. But through this process, we have geriatricians that are there on our team to make sure that people have the capacity to be making decisions for themselves and to support caregivers in any way that we possibly can in trying to get ex parte motions in terms of conservatorships and guardianships where they're necessary, adult protective services, community mental health is part of that. We're all sitting at this table making sure that we're wrapping those services around the individuals that we serve. So I don't know if you have any questions about the information that you were sent in your packet, but we cannot thank you enough. You are one of 7 municipalities who contribute financially to the Safe Seniors Program, and that is a huge deal. Norton Shores, oh, my fiance will tell me for that one. He's the police chief. So in Norton Shores, they actually have their entire allocation is used to pay for a full-time detective. And then Muskegon Township, they have their allocation that they also divert to Safe Seniors for a detective. And then the other municipalities that contribute to that help to make up that whole salary so that we can continue to operate and work these cases for you. I also wanted to just give you this packet in that manila envelope. Just a reminder that the senior millage is up for renewal this year. I know you're preparing your ballots and all that good stuff. I want to just remind you that this is a renewal of the millage. It is not an increase of the millage. The percentage of the levy does not change for the individual, with the exception, of course, that their home values did go up. We just looking at recent statistics, 1 in 4 seniors in Muskegon County have interfaced with the senior millage for one program or service or another, which is really fantastic news. It means that it's really effective. And you can see all of those numbers in the annual report, including exactly how many individuals in Dalton that have been interfaced with through this 75% of the millage, understanding the other 25% is allocated directly to the municipalities to spend as you choose on community needs that you see.
Where do you get one of those booklets?
I'll give you one.
Okay.
You have one?
Thank you.
Excellent. Any questions?
Thank you.
We're always here, so don't hesitate to call. Thank you so much for being such great partners in this work. We really appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your help.
Absolutely. Oh, yes, we are.
Next, we have visiting official and candidate updates. I don't think anyone here is holding office. If you're running for office, you're welcome to come up and say that you are. All right. Next, we have our first public comment on agenda items up to 3 minutes. If you want to come on up, yes.
Try not to take 3 minutes. Mary Fowler, 2769 Middle Lake Road. I'm just here in support of Rachel and our library. And one thing I'd like to say, that having the library connected with the school, I think makes a big difference. Many times the children who go on from Twin Lake School end up in the top 10 of the class at Reese Puffer. In fact, the year that my daughter graduated, and the top 10, there were 5 that came through Twin Lake School. So that library is very, very important. And we have a millage coming up. We don't know if there's going to be. Huh? Yeah, the end of next year, whether they'll increase or just hold with the amount. But that library is just, I've been a part of it for over 50 years. And if you know anybody that's a real library user, if they could come to that meeting, because the board has not been to Twin Lake Library or to Dalton Library for 6 years. And I just like, in the support of Rachel and her helper, I'd like people to come and show support for them, because they really work hard to, I mean, you can go in the library and get any information. They can steer you anywhere, and you can get books from all over the state. So I'm just here to kind of bolster her. She's very important to the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good, anyone else? All right, so we move on to our first decision item, which is the land sale proposal on East Street. It's included in here is a $10,000 true cash value from the assessor. Tracy handed out the comparables from the realtor, which came in more in the $6,000 to $7,000 range. So a bit less than the true cash value came in at.
How big was that piece of property? I don't.
1 acre.
That's 1 acre.
Yep. 1 acre square.
So.
As of now, it's zoned residential.
This is on the line, I know, but you can't tell us who's after that property? I mean, who wants it?
I haven't, at least as of late, I haven't been including who's been requesting them, although when we do 10 acre pieces, now we're gonna see proposals, so everyone will know. At first I did, but I didn't want that to become so much of a political thing. But we've only had one person request that actually go up.
Right, one requested, but then somebody else wanted it.
It's
It's probably gonna fit.
I mean, there's gonna be more than one bid?
Possibly.
Right.
We were approached by someone who was interested.
Well, I have a reason for asking, because our village could stand some better, our village could look better.
Yeah.
And if it's the person that's in the village already wants that piece of property, I don't want more junk in the community. I mean, we've had that building, that was gonna be torn down. Well, then the guy said, oh, we're gonna have apartments and we're gonna have, this and that and the other thing. And I don't know if it's the same person, but I know that the old post office area looks terrible.
No, not the same person.
Okay.
It's that building.
I don't want more junk in the village. People go through Twin Lake and they think it's just a downtrodden community, and it's not. If you get off the main highway and go around the lakes and in the subdivisions, it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
But it just gives us a bad name, and it always has. Sorry, it just irritates me when people, yeah.
Set a minimum bid here tonight.
Yeah, so we're looking at setting the minimum bid to open bids at the next meeting. The basic time frame. I mean, my view on it, we aren't going to do anything with it.
probably nuance. I know there's been interest in the community building.
Yeah,
But
we
it's-
have no money.
But, well, one, there's financial issues obviously concerning that, but also it's small space. I mean, you put a good sized building on there where you can have people park. So it'd make more sense if the township was going to do that, to put that on a different larger piece anyway. Is my view. And otherwise, we essentially just mow it every now and then. And that's largely it. And we had the controversy with the church organization. They're there for a while. And there's a deed concern, but I mean, we had all those meetings. They never ended up requesting it, you know, it ended up working out decent. So
So how much did we put into it for demolition?
Oh, it was quite a number of years ago now. I think it eventually came down in 2014. And I thought it was $16,000.
Even at 10,000, we're not recouping any of that.
No, those types of projects, the reason you have the government do them is because they lose money. So they take someone's tax money and spend it on those projects because they don't make sense. So, which is a debatable thing on its own, but nevertheless, that's how those work. Otherwise, the property isn't worth it.
I'll make a motion to set a minimum bid of 7,000 for the above reference parcel. And open bids at the next board meeting. Yeah, I did say that, but then she also showed, wait.
The two different people.
Yeah, the true value comes from the assessor, the comparables are coming
Well,
from
let's
the
go to
realtor.
10,000, I'll change that to a minimum bid of 10,000. Yes, that's it.
All right, so your motion is to set the minimum at 10,000.
Yeah.
All right, motion by Nolan. With the support. Or a different motion.
They are quite different.
I was gonna suggest we split the difference and say 8,000, but that's what I was gonna go.
That sounds fair too. I'll change my motion. Cause that's only 1,000 above my first original. Can I do that?
You can, you're withdrawing your $10,000 motion?
Yeah.
And so what is your amount for your motion?
8,000. Minimum bid.
We have a motion by Nola for $8,000. I'll second that. Support by Michael, any discussion among the board? None, roll call vote.
Noah,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Christie,
No.
Tracy, yes, Jeffrey.
Yes. Motion passes. Next, we have updated poverty guidelines. And so these are for hardship. We saw them in the last meeting, but the assessor noticed that there were a few technical things off in here and wanted to get those adjusted, which is why we're seeing it in back-to-back meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve the updated policy and guidelines for hardship exemptions from taxation for the year 2024.
Motion by Tracy, do we have support? Support by Nola, any discussion among the board? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Tracy, yes, Noah,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Christie. Lee.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, we have the discussion item, which is the budget. And obviously, we've been talking about the budget for quite a few months now. We're getting right here. The end of the annual meeting is at 1 p.m. Technically, two meetings. There's the one meeting where we'll vote on the salary resolutions for the elected officials. Whoever is an elector can show up to that meeting and override those. And then immediately following that special meeting for the budget for the board to vote on the budget. That's on the 23rd, start at 1 p.m. So we're getting right down to it. There's a few things in here. The fire department before, because we've changed some things around with full time. Those are all updated numbers. Tracy has all those in the computer and everything. So that's reflected in here now. There were a couple of things I needed to do to adjust the road budget one. Because that initially when I was drawing this up, I not budgeted brining, which obviously is a huge mistake. So $25,000 for that, for the dirt roads. There's also Cedar Creek for Dawson, little dirt part of Dawson between M120 and Ryerson, which I live on. They've been inquired into for 3 years now, since I've been on it, about doing some sort of upgrade on it. In my opinion, has remained the same, is that I won't be the lead on it because I live on it and I have a conflict of interest. But if they want to do anything, I won't hold it up either. I'll bring it to the board. I see now 3 years have gone by, didn't think anything was going to happen with it, and they didn't want to invest a ton of money. Initially, they looked at paving, it's far too much. So what they're looking at now is a gravel upgrade and doing it this year. That comes to $14,500. I put it in as $15,000. For us, it's 25%. Because the road commission wants to do it, they would cover 50%. Cedar Creek will cover 25%. We would cover 25%. So I have that included in here. Next, my gov. Tracy negotiated to have a 1 year contract in there for $5,000 without the onboarding fee again initially. So we have to determine if we want to include that or not. And I've also included just handwritten notes on the transfer station price list for increasing those amounts to try to keep the finances out there in some sort of reasonable shape. We have an updated salary and wage list as well, which included the amounts we talked about before based on cost of living for the employees, and then for some of the other commissions and members, we did small increases there as well.
So where it goes $3 plus 4, that's total 7 for that? Or
No, I would just increase it to
from
4.
3 to 4, okay.
Initially, I had just gone down and marked plus next to
Yep.
the things that it would be reasonable to increase,
Yes.
and then went through with numbers after that.
Okay.
So let's go through just a few things on this. One is the Dawson Road project. Do we want that included?
Yes, we do.
Perfect.
Also Jeffrey Martin Memorial.
I know, it's gonna be being
Gravel
done right as I'm going out, so I'll catch some flack on that. Which would be-
Fine.
which would be interesting. It's one of those things, so we have River Road, White Lake Drive, Dawson, and Hyde Park. It's basically our square, 36 miles, right? 36 square miles, originally laid out by Thomas Jefferson, that's how that works. And how the country would be divided up. And so you'll notice we have some issues on Dawson Road, and we have some issues on Hyde Park. And largely, it's the border road issue of you have to have both municipalities on board along with the county at the same time. And so I know a number of years ago, Hyde Park over in Fruitland had wanted to do it, or Dalton wanted to do it. One of the two ended up backing out, which is part of why those projects weren't done at the time, which I offered when I got in with Marszkowski, same thing. If you want to do anything on that road, just let me know. I'll try not to hold it up. I'll bring it to the board. They've done a lot of road projects in Fruitland, but they didn't do Hyde Park. And so, but that's part of why you see some issues on those roads, other than the fact that roads are always an issue. But border roads are their own special thing, that's for sure, with 3 governments need to be on board at the same time. Then we have Text My Gov. What do we want to do with Text My Gov? Do it, not include it.
Tracy, you really think that that's something people are really gonna utilize? Is it worth it?
I know it's expensive, but if we pass it, I'm going to use the heck out of it and try and get people to,
Okay.
sign on and get reminders and really try and use it.
So it's the 5,000 plus 2,500?
No, they
No.
waived the 2,500, so it would be just 5,000.
For 1 year.
For
Yeah.
1 year. And then the year after that, does it go back up?
I would expect it to maybe go up a little bit, but depending on our usage, that's where we would determine and maybe Side, yeah, cut it out altogether. You know, or see if there's a different package based on numbers of people and things like that.
I don't know that I like this one line. The agreement is set to be automatically renewed after the initial term has finished, so we have to. You have to do a 60-day cancellation notice.
Right.
Yep.
Just gotta keep on top of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it'll somewhat naturally come back around for next budget season. So now, if you miss it and you're right in the middle of budget season and you don't have the 60 days to do it by the time you get it through, I mean, I guess then there could be some adjustment or some controversy, but the board should be looking at the budget going into that section of the year.
But stick with my original thought on it, it's a no.
I agree with the no.
This is something that's worthwhile.
We would put it right in the budget if we were including it, right? Which is why I want to know decently definitive.
I said for a year, why not? I mean, you know, we're obviously, township is coming ahead. When I look at how much interest we're getting, that's money going into the general fund. So what is that money being spent on? And for me, if it's gonna help our community, it would be a good value. And for a 1-year challenge, why not? That's where I'm at with it.
So we have Michael and Scott no's, Noah and Tracy is yeses.
I'm kind of impartial and, I mean, I don't see why, like, a 1-year thing, but yeah, like, if it's not working out, I mean, we definitely want to take it out of the budget.
Right, exactly.
Don't want to just be the thing that gets left behind and we just pay $5,000 every year and nothing's, we're not
Right.
using it.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Don't want that to happen, that usually happens, seems like in government situations, because people change out or whatever, you know, they don't
Oh, yeah.
know that it's even there, and then it just keeps on getting paid for each year, so I guess.
Chance that none of us will be here,
Yeah.
There is a chance that.
right? So who's here, who might not be here to remind everybody?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe here.
The deputies.
I'm not hoping that.
Yeah, I guess.
You say there
Hey,
is,
now.
there's a thing called an election, right? So-
Yeah.
All 7 spots.
That's next November, I believe, isn't it?
Yes.
This
November.
This November.
This November.
We'll remind you. We're always here.
That's awesome.
All right, so was that a yes or a no, Lee?
It was a political answer.
I guess I'm getting, after this many years, getting used to the yes or no. Wait.
I mean, 'cause so like in the annual meeting, we can adjust things in the
Yeah.
budget, but ideally we're not. You know, ideally, right, we're already got everything resolved and we're essentially rubber stamping it. Well, quarterly adjustments, those will be like the big.
I mean, I guess as personally, I don't care, I don't really use that, even as I'm a young person, whatever, I care less about this thing, I usually only check for the weather and if my wife is calling or if I need to get a hold of her.
Good for you.
I mean, that's, I work with her every day and it just, I mean, it's, yeah,
I agree.
that's all I've ever used a cell phone for, it's just very, so.
I see the library uses a shout bomb and people love it.
Shout bomb?
It's their text. Okay. I think I will.
Yeah, I've had, we've used that at the farm before.
It would be a good way to reach
People love it.
out.
You can read your items from there, you can see
Yeah.
what checked out, just do a text message. It works wonderfully.
There's
As opposed to waiting around for an email or calling the library or going to our website and typing in your account numbers and stuff. It all goes straight through text. It's wonderful.
So many of the younger ones, that's might be the only way to.
I think we'll all
I guess it's,
Convenient.
no one question, is it does it get weird because it's a government thing? Is that why this whole text my gov thing and not like the text service, like, I mean, I guess it's still, are you still a government organization?
Yes.
So I mean, it's still, so it's legal to do that, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess that's just, yeah,
all you got your phone number.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you gotta put in your information.
Yeah, I think this company just specializes in this niche market is.
Right, because if, let's say Twin Lake was getting treated for whatever.
Yeah.
And people on Twin Lake have signed up, we can shoot out a text message that says, hey, reminder that, you know, the lake's being treated today, no contact or whatever they are.
Can you set up vote reminders, all that stuff?
Yeah, you know,
And
I
like,
can
you
send,
know, when we change the precincts, when people don't know that or have forgotten,
send reminders to
send
snowbirds to
reminders, you know.
give us your weather address.
So where do you two sit down there
Me?
on it? Years for it?
I would say try it for a year, and if we don't get the turnaround like we want, I would say to rethink that. Yeah. I mean, I think it could be an asset to us if we can get people engaged and to do it.
And, you know, Christy could put a note on tax bills to sign up for tax reminders and remind people that, hey, your taxes are due.
And when they start
A
coming
month
in
ahead
to
of
pay their
time.
taxes, we can get them to sign up. When they come in, the girls up front can share with everybody that comes through the door.
Coming down to you, Lee.
Oh, gee.
Where are you at, Joe? I'm still in. I think for the cost, I think there's gonna be, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think the participation is gonna be there. You know, theoretically, you can get the participation there, like, there'd be value.
You can't get the participation unless you have something in place. Yeah, unless you're trying.
It's just like what we use for Walgreens. I get a text that says your prescriptions are now ready to be picked up. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, that's right.
I guess,
You're good with trying it for a year? Is that the way you're leaning? Or are you look at other options?
I guess when Rachel said that, I maybe we could look at that too. I mean, imagine, I don't know, is it a service, like a monthly service, like a service?
Yeah.
You have to, I mean, you have to know.
Yeah, I can look up other,
Cost, but
I'm just curious, yeah, if
I don't think
it's something maybe a little,
you know, they say you're.
Wanna try it.
It's gonna be this much, but then the next year you say, well, I'm not sure if I'm gonna, they'll lower the price for you.
right.
To keep you on there.
Yeah, or, yeah, if you wanna look
I'll
at
look into some other.
yeah.
what some other costs maybe.
applications.
All right. And then we have the transfer station price list. I agree with your adjustments on that.
That's.
I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I mean, some of these things, so like the twin mattress or box spring that we have on there, you know, the county hits us for $10 extra for that item. Currently, it's listed as $7, so we lose money on every one of those we do, and there's several items like that. So the biggest jumps here I brought up were several of those types of items. I brought up the 15. You know, I mean, it loses money out there without the cost of the employee.
Wow.
And so it loses a decent.
I think they're up to $11 an item this year.
You're right. They upped it on us again. So, yeah, so that type of stuff is creeping up. And working out the compost plans.
Saves you the trip out there to go dump it at the dump, like, you're not dumping a mattress every day, I hope, not every week, but, it's $15, it's a big deal.
So how do you determine stump size, small, medium, and large? Like, seriously?
Well,
How do
so,
you determine that?
and we don't get a ton of cheese.
Good question.
And the stumps that we do get out there, so it is largely a judgment call like that. But the stumps that we do get out there, we don't even have a good way of taking care of them. So right now, they're just put beyond the brush pile, just kind of out of the way. But like the branches that we ground up, because they used to burn those in years past, there were some issues with that and stuff. So those get ground up, but they don't like to grind stumps in the same way.
No, okay.
So I've offered to have people come take them if they want them, but there hasn't been a ton of interest in that. Yeah. All right, so I'll work on getting those made up and everything. I figured that now is the time to make those adjustments. We also, with the maintenance position switching out, we have, that person. It makes a lot of sense for them to be a point person to have a decent amount of initiative on equipment and projects. With the person switching out, which we have some good leads, people put in reports for that position. But with having a different person, I assume some of those things will go differently. And we can just leave the items written in there. For instance, when you get back around to snow next year, it probably doesn't make sense to be buying the tractor now at this point, not knowing who exactly is handling the snow going into next year. We can, and based on how they would want to handle it, we can leave it in there as is. And then as long as we don't buy the things, then there's no budgetary expense. It's no big deal. Or the board can look at adjusting what we want as far as the maintenance budgeted items go. Want to go either way on that?
Is it just 3 items in there right now, or is that just that you added? Out the sign, tractor, and irrigation?
I think there were a couple items that I added in the maintenance section for equipment, and then a couple of items that I added in the parks and rec section for potential projects as well. So, and it'll largely depend, I'll do some of this stuff. So I'll work on getting like the composting license for the transfer station going and that type of thing. But, maybe not all of it. Depends on how extensive it gets. It would still be nice to tackle a number of projects. And some of them, the ones we're contracted out, so like the Twin Lake Cemetery one, we're contracting it out for laying and gravel. Pretty easy. Give them a call, coordinate with them, not too big of a deal. Some of the other things, less so. Obviously, I got rejected by, ideally, what I wanted to do is like a legal permit to do the boat ramp out in Goose Egg Lake last year as an experiment. If it went well, then do Middle Lake, North Lake, and West Lake this year. But I couldn't get my approval through for the paperwork, so was planning on tackling that in a different way this year. Still light, but it's also, even if we get 1 through this year as the experiment, then someone else would need to be tackling that next year if we do another 3.
May have addressed this already. What's going on with the new maintenance supervisor?
Well, so as of now, we don't have a new one. Nate just quit.
Right, I know.
And then I have it posted. We have seasonal people. So we have 2 seasonal people, Paul and Greg, that have worked out good. They've been here 2 years. They're coming back. So Paul is going again. He started today. He was in, and then there's a number of things like putting together some of the sod from snow plowing, getting branches and that type of thing, starting to get that cleaned up. Some of the leaves left from last year in the cemeteries, those end up being pretty big. So he's going around and check everything out today and let me know that he's going to start working on those things. And then Greg will come back part-time halfway through April. And those 2, as far as just like the grass in the cemeteries and the stick in the cemeteries and some of the stuff with the park, trying to kill off some of the moles. Our fields, of course, back up in multiple areas to woods. So the moles always come out of there and make quite a bit of mess. They're pretty good on handling a decent amount of that stuff. If we needed to, we potentially could add in someone also seasonally part-time to fill a little bit of a gap. But we've got several leads. And so what I asked the leads to do on Indeed this time is I gave them a list of some of the facilities to go around to give us an update on how they thought the facility's current state was and what projects they thought would make sense going forward. And so we've had several people respond to that, a little more response than I thought we would get. And so we have a couple of good leads that we'll work on interviewing in the near future here and see if any of them are interested in actually coming on. So that's the basic situation with the position as of now.
When are you gonna
you wanna wait to talk about that more or not, that would, but that was in my notes, so we're gonna put an end to the open position date, well, when's the last day you're accepting applications, do we have, is there kind of?
As of now, I just left it, I just left it rolling. So to see what kind of responses that we get. I figured I talked with Christy and Tracy on maybe taking a little bit longer this time, trying to find a good solid fit that would hopefully be there for a while, a better fit than we've had over the last few years. And so that's the idea there. So I didn't have a specific timeline listed because I thought it would be a little slower to roll it. As of today, on Indeed, we had 39 applicants, and I had sent that assignment, essentially a test assignment, out to 10 of them. And we've gotten 3 people that put that information in, and it sounds like a few more probably go into as well. So, but we weren't planning on rushing this one, which means we'll probably be bringing them in after we're through some of this budget stuff. Definitely not in a time frame where we can have them realistically planning projects.
Just popped in my, just popped in my head. The transfer station, like the shack, whatever.
The building?
Is that still in there or is that out of there? I just questioned that.
Yes, I believe I had it listed before and have left it in.
It's just listed in like capital outlay or something like that.
Yeah, discussion on a new building for a transfer station. Page 3, capital outlay under public works,
Oh, okay.
10,000.
Okay. I'm just curious, thank you. These things kind of come together, kind of little words.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit in there, which is why I have some of those things listed out in different sections, otherwise
Yeah.
very difficult to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I've left that in there as of now, so we can adjust that if you would like, but I mean, as the situation of the building itself hasn't changed.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. I mean, now that's out there a week or so, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so as of now, I mean, the major change ends up being having the person that is the point person to take the initiative to actually get it all switched out, ordered, switched out, new stuff hooked up, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So back to the maintenance supervisor. And this has no reflection on Nate. I don't think Nate was a problem at all in this regard, but in this hiring process, is there a background check done? Is there drug screens, all that?
So we have a state background check run on everyone that comes in. The physicals have been a mix since I've been here. When I came in, they hadn't been doing them for township employees who have been fired, does its own thing, they do physicals. And so I added in doing them, and we were including a drug screen along with it. Ended up having some trouble getting some of the responses, and they ended up shutting down the workplace health up in Whitehall that I had been using. Had some mixed results with being able to get results from the Muskegon location, even sent some to Fremont one time. So that's been a little mixed, but it would be best to send someone out for physical.
There is that workplace facility off of Sherman. Just east of
Correct.
Fremont.
Yep. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Anything else on the budget? Do we think more stuff is needed as far as explanation or little notes on there? I can obviously go through it again with a comb, but are we good with the level of explanation? Is there anything else that people want looked at closer? Cool, we'll move on to our second public comments. If anyone would like to come up and let us know what you think, anything, are welcome to.
Think. Careful.
Been releasing articles on epistemology, so open to it.
Rachel Church again, we had the young lady from, HO Services, the Safe Seniors. Forgot to mention in May, when our neighborhood days start, on Monday, the 20th of May, Safe Seniors, someone from there will be coming to the library. Says not everyone is a friend. It's on Monday, the 20th at 4:00. Anyone can come up and talk to someone from Tanglewood or representative. Age will be coming out, so we've already got that arranged.
Awesome. All right. Anything else from anyone else? Was I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Nolan, do we have a support? Support by Michael, and discussion among the board. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.
Thanks.